Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
Welcome back to the Daily Truth Report. We've got a favorite back with us today. Our good friend, the analyst of time, POLNY, is back on the show from Gold 2020 Forecast. Bo, welcome back to the show.
Noah, thank you. We have a lot to talk about. Very, very important year we're at. This is going to be a very important interview. I think the viewers will love it. And we're just going to cover a lot of information today, Noah. Thank you for having me.
I always like to do this. I like to set the stage and tell everybody we're recording this on January 23rd of 2023. And Bitcoin is at 23,000. When Bo was on just 3 weeks ago, it was at 16,800. It has had a wild move, and that's one of the things Bo was right about. You can go back and watch the old interviews. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But it has had a wild move from the time that Bo called the bottom, and that's all documented as well. It's up over 40% since November. Really incredible. And we've got a big update for you on that, so stick around to the end for that one.
When a seal opens, a third seal, this is the third seal of Revelation. When a seal opens, it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's not local to the United States or any country. It's all countries. It's the world. So when the third seal manifests, the U.S. dollar will collapse. I'm guessing maybe a 30% sudden haircut or drop in value, causing everything priced in the dollar to plummet. And then when that happens, it's going to cause havoc and chaos. And it's also going to be triggered with other currencies across the globe in the world, because all currencies are fiat, meaning that they are not attached to gold. They're just money by decree. That's really what a fiat currency is. It's, some king, some government agency says that this piece of paper is money. That's called money by decree. I don't know when it's going to open, but if I had to guess, well, then when is the next feast? The next feast is Passover. Okay, so we know the next feast is Passover. And so when specifically is Passover? Well, if we look at, pull it up on the charts this year, it's April 13th. So if you look on page 21, this is the cycle that relates to the angel of death. So it ends on April 13th. Does something happen then? God knows, not me. But I'm telling you, we really need to be watching closely here the middle of April. Something huge is expected to happen. God is not going to be mocked by these people. He's given them 2 years. It's up, it's over. So something biblical is coming. And it's going to be something the world's never going to forget. In 1973, Saudi Arabia signed a contract with the United States. That created what's called the current day petrodollar. So why would Saudi Arabia need a contract with Russia if they already have a contract with the United States? Mm-hmm. They don't, right? But they contracted with Russia. So when I said that contract that was signed on August 24th of 2021 is going to mark the collapse of the U.S. dollar within about a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And look what's happening right now. We just had last week in Davos, Saudi Arabia, who apparently has a contract with the United States, actually said, you know what, United States, we're just going to accept payment in any other currency. But the part of the agreement was they would only accept payment in the U.S. dollar. Get it? The agreement was you only accept payment in the U.S. dollar, and we will give you military protection. That was the contract. Well, we basically abandoned Kabul. Saudi Arabia doesn't trust us anymore. And look, they go team up with Russia. And now look what's happening. Last week, 17th of January, Saudi Arabia clearly announced, their words were, Saudi Arabia says open to settling trade in other currencies. I've been telling you, that is an act of war, and it's an act of war. So we are about to see incredible financial things start to blow up, including, I do feel in my heart, for some reason, because this is going to be the clash of the titans on page 19, I'm telling you, they're going to pull the nuclear card. They're going to tell us this is the end, nuclear war is coming. And remember, they cannot why would they state those words, Noah? Because if the dollar crashes, they lose their control. Mm-hmm. So what happens with a wild beast pinned into a corner? He's going to pull out everything he's got to not let that first domino fall.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, if you understand the times and the seasons, what do? I'm an analyst of time and I study the times and the seasons. If you understand the seals, the financial event that's coming is the third seal. So we're not in like tribulation where nuclear war is coming. We're not even close. But so then Matthew even tells us that, Matthew 24 says, be not deceived. The end is not yet. So I want to be clear about that. So whatever happens here in the near future, whatever they say, Satan is the big liar, and his only job is to deceive you, scare you, so that you will listen. Period.
Yeah. I want to make sure I understand this. So when oil is no longer sold in the dollar, that means there's a lot less demand for dollars. That means the dollar plummets. And when the dollar plummets and goes down, then Bitcoin typically goes way up. Is that the way it works?
The world has been using the fiat money system for years now, for generations. Okay. So this event that's expected is the collapse of the US dollar, which means that other countries are simply not going to want it. I'm going to repeat, other countries are not going to want the dollars. As an example, let's say you want to buy a car in Japan or a car in Germany, some product in a different country, they're not going to want the dollar. And so we're going to need to settle financial agreements in something. And this is why I've been on your show, I don't know how many times, saying it's really critically important to understand and get involved in precious metals, number one, because that's God's money, but also cryptocurrencies, because you're not going to send a piece of silver or gold across the ocean to go buy something, okay? When you got a phone in your hand or a computer, you can click 3 buttons and your transaction's paid for. You see what I'm saying? Remember, this is a fight to the death for them, right? This is literally a fight to the death for them. And they cannot let silver go vertical. They can't let silver go through $30, through $60 and, into $100, because if it does that, that event means that the dollar is worth less. Not worth less like zero, it means worth less by a sizable amount. And so what's going to happen is, I see more of how it's going to play out, is the BRICS nations. So because Saudi Arabia now announced that they're going to accept payment in other currencies for oil. And so we're going to have the BRICS nations, and this is a prophetic word. If you actually go to page 16, it's right on page 16. Kim Clement prophesied how this is going to play out. So the brothers of Goliath, what does that mean? So Goliath means a giant, okay? Brothers means that they come from the same bloodline. So they're giants also, get it? Russia, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, now Saudi Arabia. So those are the brothers of Goliath. And the prophetic word was the brothers of Goliath stand in glee, meaning we're proud. We know we have a plan. What's the word? We will cripple you.
We cannot wrap this up until we talk about Bitcoin. That's the third area that you were just nailed in our last interview.
Look at the slide that's right in front of you. You know what? Because I haven't changed. This is the slide still from dated January 11th. Okay. But we did an interview, and the breakout, you see the bottom right there, it says breakout January 6th. So Bitcoin broke out of this, it's called a wedge on January 6th. But if you go back to our interview, so January 3rd would have been 3 days before January 6th, right? It was just inside that wedge. And I said, Bitcoin's about, when January starts up, now that it's starting, Bitcoin's about to break out of this wedge and go vertical. Noah, we nailed it. Exactly. And what happened? Bitcoin went vertical. It's up 40%, 44%, or since the bottom, probably 35% from our interview, precisely how we laid it out.
In one of your recent newsletters, you put, I think you only do this about once a year, but you put kind of your future price targets on where you think these coins can go in the next year. And some of those are we obviously can't say it here live on the show out of respect for the people that do subscribe to that service. But some of those are just mind blowing. And I'm with you. We talk about Bitcoin because it's the easy one that everyone understands, and it's easy to kind of follow where it's going. But the exciting ones are the ones that are on this screen, and even some other ones that aren't on this screen that you cover in your report. Now, I always say this. I love that you always tell people, if you want to just buy it and hold it and forget about it, just go do that. You don't need my report. But if you're interested in knowing some of those ups and downs and the time cycles about when it's going to start getting crazy, when it's going to be boring, when to get in, when to get out, That's what this service is for. So this is something Bo runs. He does these interviews for free. He puts these slides out for free. He gives you sneak peeks and hints for free. But if you want the full deal, that's where you get this newsletter, and only get it if you want it. And I love that he says that. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But for the people that do want to check it out, the link's on the screen. You go to gold2020forecast.com. And then Bo always puts together a discount code that you can plug in there when you're going through and signing up. There's going to be a box it asks if you have a code. You put in WLT49. It's going to give you 50% off. So you can get in there for 14 days, click around. You can get all the reports. All the historical reports are in there. And that code is only good for a little bit. So if you want it, go ahead and grab it now.
When the financial system breaks here, specifically the US dollar financial system breaks, you have to understand people are going to need to buy things. And so that's why, understanding cryptocurrencies and blockchain and how to have it on your phone and pay for things, as much as people are out there saying, I don't need to learn that stuff. Well, you're going to need to learn this stuff when other countries aren't accepting the US dollar as payment and you want to buy something. And so I'm just telling you, it's just, we're heading into an age of blockchain. And because the financial system that we've grown up with is about to break. The world reserve currency is about to break the US dollar, coupled with virtually every other currency in the world, because they're fiat. They're fiat. They're not backed by gold. When God intervenes, the paper fiat money system is going to break. Whether you agree or not, it is going to happen.
Our guest today has been Bo Polnny, the analyst of time. It's been another fantastic interview. I've had so much fun. I'll end up on this screen here. So if you just heard all that, and if your mind is spinning a little bit, or if you're even getting a little anxiety right now because you want to get involved, you should, you feel called to it. Everyone needs to do what they believe is best. Bo and I are not financial advisors. We're just telling you what we do and what Bo sees out there in the cycles. But if you're feeling the nudge to figure this out and it's intimidating to you, I always love telling people about this. I've told friends and family about this, and I love covering it when we talk to Bo. He created this thing he calls the Easy Crypto School, and the name is self-explanatory. If you know nothing about how to buy Bitcoin or any of these coins, if it's intimidating to you, if you're starting to get a little cold sweat right now just thinking about it, and if you don't want to make a mistake or fall into a scam or send coins to the wrong place or do something wrong, this is what you need. This is really great. I get so many awesome reviews and feedback from people that said they've got this and liked it. So you just go to easycryptoschool.com, and Bo's also giving you a code for this one, so you can get 50% off. Get in there, check it out, take all the courses, and see if you like it. You put in the same code, WLT49, and that's going to give you the discount. But Bo does put expirations on those, so that code will not last forever. So if you want it, grab it now. And you might want to grab it before the end of January, because if you've been paying attention, there may be some big things coming. So I like to talk about those because Bo is humble and doesn't like to talk too much about his own stuff. But I've been a subscriber to his newsletter for a couple of years now. I love it. Every time they come into my inbox, I stop what I'm doing and I read the latest report. And by the way, you get a report, usually every 2, 3, 4 days, something like that. Bo kicks out a new one, and they're always so fun to read. So I talk about that so Bo doesn't have to. And I only talk about things I like, and I really like what Bo puts out. So I'm going to put you back on the big screen, and I want you to leave us with whatever thought you'd like to leave us with as we wrap this up.
All I want to finish up with is I want to thank you for having me, Noah. We are living in very exciting times. Things are about to manifest here. We've waited. And at this point in time, something big is about to manifest. I've discussed how important, this 50-year cycle is. Roe v. Wade, we're at the 50-year mark. Something big is coming. And I'm telling you, by the time April hits, our minds will be blown what happens in April. It's important to know that God's got this. The world is controlled by evil. The choices you make today are for your tomorrow. And you have to understand that. When Joshua came down the mountain of Sinai, he goes, choose this day whom you will serve. If you choose to continue to live in this world and watch media, watch the news, and watch all the bad news out there, that's all it is. It's depressing and it's scary. And better to stop looking down the rabbit hole of how horrible things are and actually just look to God. So, get on your knees, pray to God, say, God, thank you for everything in my life. And just finishing with, God's got this. So as horrible as things are about to get, because it's going to get ugly, but the United States has to go through this to come out and be born again, just like what happened to Lazarus. Jesus Christ was the glory. You read Isaiah 61, he was the glory, and we're about to see glory manifest on this earth here. And it's going to be incredible. And the question I have for you, have you prepared? Which of the 5 virgins are you? There was 10 virgins, 5 chose to prepare, 5 chose not to prepare. The Bible says, I don't know how many times, prepare. So my question to you is, have you prepared? God loves you. Noah, thank you for having me here. God bless.
What a perfect way to end it. Thank you, Bo. We'll see you next time.
Amen.